when Mary got to Calabar, she had quite a surprise waiting for her because the men were dressed in funny shawls, clothing of animals, masks of animals with horns on, and they were beating drums and dancing and hollering. And Mary thought, oh, dear Lord, what in the world is going on? And then somebody said, Mary, we're celebrating because the chief has made a new law. And he said that from now on, in our tribe, we're not going to kill any more twins when they're born, and we're not going to torture any of the mothers that give birth to twins. Wow! What joy was waiting for Mary. She was just thrilled. So she was back at the mission then in Duketown, and she was talking with King Io Honesty the Seventh. And he said, listen, Mary, we are just so glad that you're back, but everybody is in agreement that you need to find a quiet spot to live and stop all this running from tribe to tribe and constant going, because if you continue on that kind of life, you're going to be gone again, and you're going to have to go back to Scotland again. And she said, well, you know, I heard about a tribe that I really wanted to go to see if I could tell them about Jesus. And she said, I wanted to go to the Okoyongi tribe. And King Honesty the Seventh said, oh, no, listen, no, they are very cruel. They are really brutal. And we've already tried. The mission has already sent one man there, and they captured him. They kidnapped him and held him for ransom money. He barely escaped with his life. And then another man thought he could do it, and so he moved in with the tribe. And they chased him out of there with guns. I'm telling you, those men are crazy. They are just really cruel. And she said, well, it kind of sounds like that's the place for me then. And he said, no, Mama, no. You can't go there. They'd be too cruel. And she said, no, listen. They need the same Jesus that you needed, that changed your life. If they can ever get saved, their lives will change. And that's what we all need to understand. These people that live around us, they do terrible things. They do wild things because they don't know Jesus. They're not saved. And we need to tell them about Jesus. So King Io Honesty the Seventh said, well, Mary, if you insist, then I'll let you take my best canoe, my biggest canoe. And he had 30 men to row the canoe for her. And Mary thought, I'm going to take some of my twins, because sometimes children open up a door to, when you're trying to give out the gospel, they kind of pave a way for the others, because everybody loves children. And so she took a bunch of children, and so when they arrived, it was 8 hours later that they arrived. It was nighttime, and it was still 6.5 kilometers for them to walk on foot from the beach to Okoyongi. And Mary had a couple of heavy packages with her. And so she asked the gentlemen, the rowers, if they'd take the package. Oh, no, they said, no, if you're going to go tonight, you go alone, because we're not getting in this jungle at night. What courage. So Mary said, well, I'm going. I will not fear what man can do unto me. I have put my faith and my trust in the Lord. And so she put the oldest child in the front, and she put the other children behind, and she brought up the rear with the baby on her shoulder and the big package. She lugged herself, and they walked and walked and walked and walked, and they heard scary noises in the jungle. And many times the children were very afraid. They didn't know if it was an animal, if it was a warrior. And Mary said, no, children, listen, we're not going to cry. We're not going to give in to fear. We will trust and obey. And so she said, let's sing. trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. And so they sang and they sang and they sang, and when they got closer, Mary began to wonder, now I wonder what is awaiting me. I wonder if they're known for having been a people of drinking. They give babies to the oldest people, beer, pinga all day long, whiskey all day long. And, but she had a surprise, a sweet surprise waiting for her, because when she got to Okeechobee, Chief Edom was in his right mind. He had not been drinking. And he said, Ma, Mary, welcome. I knew you were coming because I heard the drums beating. And we couldn't wait until you got here. We've heard so much about your wisdom and how you love to help everybody. So he called a reunion and had Mary tell them about Jesus immediately. The whole tribe came out. Well, that was something she was not expecting, and she just really praised the Lord. The king, Edom, Chief Edom, his sister became really good friends with Mary. Her name was Ma Emma. And she ended up being a tremendous help to Miss Mary. They had kind of a code going between them. Ma Emma, if she caught wind of twins needing to be born, she would find runners and she'd say, take this bottle of medicine and tell Ma Mary that I need medicine. Well, she really didn't need medicine, she needed Mary, because there was about to break out either a murderer, either they were going to kill the babies and torture the mother, or there was maybe a fight between the tribes. And so that was their code. If a runner came in a panic to Mary and said, Ma Emma needs medicine, Mary knew what that meant. She dropped everything and she took off running with the runners back to wherever they had come from. Well, Mary thought, this is such an open door. I cannot pass this up. She went back to Duketown and she said, listen, King Honesty the Seventh, I'm going to move there. They received me well. They need the gospel. They want the gospel. He sat everybody down in the tribe to hear me explain the gospel. And so she said, I'm taking everything and I don't know that I'll ever come back. So she packed up everything. And King Honesty the Seventh lent her again the canoe with his 30 rowers. And again, when they got there at night, the rowers were too fearful to accompany Mary and the children to the tribe, the Okeechobee tribe. Well, this time when they got there, things were not quite the way they were the first time. When Mary and the children got there, there was nobody in the village. Nobody. Every tent, every hut was empty. Nobody was there. Not even the chief. And Mary thought, well, this is really funny. They have abandoned everything. And she made some tea with a portable stove that she took with her, and she gave the children tea and put them to bed. Well, the next morning, she made a way for them to have a service. She put some logs down for the children to sit on, and she put up a couple of logs with a piece of wood on top to hold her Bible. And she said, okay, kiddos, now listen, we're going to sing as if we have a service full of people. And she said, I want all of you to sing your best. I want everyone singing loud. We're going to worship the Lord and praise the Lord, even if nobody comes. And so they did. They sang for all they were worth. They sang to their heart's content. Then Mary opened the Word of God and she taught them a few things from the Bible. Then they concluded their service with prayer and they waited, and the children played and ran and played, and about noontime somebody came through the clearing and said, oh, Mom! The chief in the neighboring village just died. the funeral. And so soon, everybody will be back here. We didn't know that you were going to be here today. So pretty soon, Sheppy Edom, said the same thing. He said, "Oh, Ma, I didn't know that you were going to come today, so I wasn't ready for you, and we were gone because of the funeral." And he said, "I'm really sorry, but look, I have a bigger place for you to stay, a bigger room for you to stay." And she said, "Oh, that's great. That'd be wonderful." And he said, "It's kind of dirty." And she said, "That's okay. I don't mind. We'll clean it up." And a young man, maybe about Joshua's age or Matthew's age, said, "Ma, Mary, I'll help you. I'll help you sweep and clean it up." She said, "That would be just great." And so she let him help her. He swept and he did such a good job, just like I know you boys do. Remington, you probably sweep really good for your mother too. Rebecca, I know that all of you big kiddos are really learning to be quite the workers. I know my Gabriel John and my Ryan are already learning to work. And Caitlin, I heard about you making a cake and everything. I know that all of you are really big helpers. So this young man was a blessing. But you'll never believe what happened. They went to bed that night. When they swept the dirt floor clean, then Mary again gave the children tea. And she put them all to bed on the floor. The next morning, she woke up to hearing a whole bunch of people out front of her hut talking loudly. And she went to the door of her hut just in time to see that those men were dumping boiling hot oil all over the arms of that boy, Ipke, that had helped her sweep the hut the day before. "No!" she said. "No! Stop it! That is not right!" Too late. He writhed with pain and he dropped to the ground unconscious because of the pain. Mary picked him up and she took him back to her hut and she put medicine on the burns and she gave him medicine to take away pain and she nursed him for many days to try to get him well. Praise the Lord, she was able to get the burns well, and when he was without pain enough that he could talk, she said, "Ipke, I'm really curious, why did those men pour that boiling oil on your arms? What did you do?" He said, "Well, Ma, they did it because I helped you, because I swept the floor of your hut. Because they said, you are not to leave the old ways and pick up Miss Mary's new ways of God. Now, because you helped her, we're going to pour this oil over your arms to get rid of the evil spirits that used your arms to clean out her hut." Mary said, "Oh, dear Lord. Oh, dear Lord. How can I ever make a difference to these people? Please let me take the gospel to them so that they can let you change their way of thinking and get rid of these evil ways." Well, children, you know, King Io Honesty the Seventh didn't want her going to Okeongi. Well, it wasn't long, and a runner came running, and he was all out of breath. He'd been running for 8 hours, and he said to Miss Mary, "Listen, there's a tribe 8 hours away that the chief is sick, and he's calling for Ma, Mary, to come because he's heard that you can make people well." And Mary gathered her things and she said, "I'll go." But Chief Edom said, "Oh, no, Ma, you can't go there. Those people are so cruel. They are so evil. You can't go there." And in her heart, she wanted to chuckle and she said, "That's what you all say about each other. Listen, you were that evil person before I came here, and now you don't want me to go there with the gospel because he's so evil." And Sheppy Edom said, "Listen, I'll tell you what. If you go there and you give him medicine, if he dies, they'll throw you right down in the pit with him, in the grave." And she thought And she said, yes, but, and if I don't go and he dies, well then they're going to throw all of his wives down in the grave with him and all of his slaves, all of his servants. So a lot of people will die. And she said, and to be quite honest with you, Shefi, Edom, I do understand that if I go and they do me evil, you will declare war on them. So I have a hard decision to make. Children, you come back next week and we're going to find out what God led Mary to do.